Good evening, everybody, and welcome in here on the Buckeye Racing Network. I'm Tyler Bentley. Alongside me in the booth, as always, is Tim Henderson. Tim, how are you doing tonight?
Oh, I'm blessed. I am blessed.
I feel it, buddy. We are live once again with the League of Outlaws IMCA style modified division here at the Lincoln Speedway. The first time we are live at Lincoln ever here on the channel, so happy to be here. It looks like a great field here tonight of at least 20 plus. Qualifying's already underway. Matt Pridgeon just went to the top of the board with a 17:79 lap time. And that's besting, who's that? Riley Board in position number 2 at a 17:82 so far. Jared Murphy, series regular, currently number 3 at a 17:84. Here's another series regular, league owner AJ Hunsinger in car 30. Well, it's 31 in the sim, 33 on iRacing. As he makes his way down through, I believe that's 1 and 2, down the back straightaway. Now James Murphy, always quick each and every week with the League of Outlaws in car 65. Also out on the racetrack, Brandon Jarvis just went P13 at an 18:31. Across the stripe for James. He goes to P9 at a 17:97 here on his first lap. As he comes across now to complete lap number 2, up to the top of the board at a 17:67. Great lap for James right there. AJ Hunsinger, 17:82. Ramsey Villarreal at a 17:83. Well, not much of a surprise to see James Murphy at the top of the board, a 17:67. Great lap, a little over a tenth quicker than Matt Pridgeon. Newcomer Riley Board. This is an open session, so quite a few new faces in here. Ramsey Villarreal, P5. Tony Lewis. Regular Tyler Bickford in P8. Dylan Patterson. Kevin Walker. Lincoln Smith. All newcomers. Ty Williams is a series regular. Troy Kernan on the racetrack now. As he had a little bit of an issue out of turn number 4, but he did gather that car back in, trying to get at least a lap in. As we just got about a minute, under a minute now left in the qualifying session. Troy Kernan completes lap number 1 to 15th at an 18:22. And Tim, you can see there's already a big slick area on this racetrack formed. So these drivers really having to roll out of the throttle into the corners.
It looks like we're gonna have a little bit of a farm going on with the track. We're gonna be farming that track to about, I don't know if we're above what we are or if it's gonna kind of reset a little bit. I'm not sure.
Doug Hamaker just ran his second lap. He goes to an 18:32, good for 17th quick. And it's going to bring a close to our qualifying session here tonight. And the racetrack going to get reworked a little bit. We're going to start our heat racing action here. Let's take a look at the starting lineup for heat race number 1. On the front row is going to be James Murphy and Ramsey Villarreal. Row number 2 is going to be Dylan Patterson and Gunnar Walls. Row number 3 is going to be Doug Hamaker and Brian Hughes. And naturally, for some odd reason, my timing and scoring doesn't want to work. Gotta love the technology when it seems to fail. We'll try to re-up that. There we go. That looks a whole lot better. Looks like Brian Hughes not going to make the call, so 5 cars in heat number 1. 8 laps of distance. How many are transferring directly to the feature, Tim?
It is showing 4 are going straight to the feature. I don't know if you hear me. Hello?
Yep, I got you. 4 to the feature?
Yes.
All right. Good deal.
We are set to also have, it looks like, 4 heat. We're going to have 4 heats, 1 consolation, and we're going to go to the feature. Well, right now, obviously heat 1 first.
Yeah, James Murphy fires away. Green flag goes in the air. Heat race number 1 is underway. Battling quickly for second, and that's going to diminish as Dylan Patterson goes into second. 3 wide out of turn number 2. Doug Hammaker, Ramsey Villarreal, Gunnar Walls all in a dogfight for position number 3. Ramsey up near the wall, loses a little bit of time out of turn 4. Gunnar Walls prevails for the time being over Doug Hammaker, but Doug fighting hard on the inside. Meanwhile, James Murphy, Dylan Patterson stretching their legs a little bit up front. Oh my, looked like Gunnar got into turn 1. The car just didn't stick, so he loses a bunch of time. Doug is securely into 3rd. Ramsey moved up into 4th, and Gunnar Walls is going to be following closely behind him now in the 5th spot. Already 3 laps in, and James Murphy still leading the way here. Opened up about an 1/8 of a second advantage over Dylan Patterson. So far, it looks like the inside line, Tim, is the prevailing line early on.
Yeah, I think that's going to be different when we see the feature roll around here.
Yeah, I think it probably will change up some as we get later on into the night. We'll have, you know, about 4 heats, I would think, maybe 3. So
Gunnar makes the pass on the inside of Ramsey.
oh, and they bang doors out of turn 2 right there. Oh my.
Kind of got a battle for the lead here. Dylan looking to the inside of James Murphy.
Just an update, Ramsey Villarreal had a crash into turn 3 that last time. Dylan Patterson all the way up near the wall, but James Murphy on the inside is going to take the checkered flag here to finish out heat race number 1. Dylan Patterson 2nd, Doug Hammaker 3rd, Gunnar Walls. Those are your 4 transfer cars going right into tonight's feature event. Ramsey Villarreal and Brian Hughes will have to fight it out in the consolation in just a little while. Heat race number 2 lining up behind the pace truck already. Row number 1 is going to be Matt Pridgeon and Jared Murphy. Row 2 is going to be Kevin Walker and Troy Kernan. Row number 3 is going to be Gerald Lee and Troy Owenby. Eight laps the distance. Looks like 2 guys not going to make the call. Troy Kernan and Troy Owenby. So 4 cars are going to start. That should mean, Tim, that these 4 guys will transfer directly into tonight's feature event.
I didn't quite hear what you said. I had someone come over the radio.
Oh, I just was making a point that the 4 guys that are going to start this heat race should be the four that transfer into the feature event.
Oh yeah, they all four of these guys will be in the feature.
Pace truck peels off. In control, Matt Bridgen in control. He fires in the middle of 3 and 4. Green flag is in the air, and look at car number 11, Gerald Lee, on the inside. Oh my, big contact, the 55, the 1, and the 11 all up into the outside wall early on, and I believe Kevin Walker had to tow that race car. Matt Bridgen, Gerald Lee, Jared Murphy, your top three, and Gerald looking for the race lead. Oh my, and he goes up into the wall and gets right in front of Matt Bridgen. Gerald struggling, and not in a good way, as it looks like he is now taking that car behind the pit wall. Jared Murphy, in a massive turn of events to start heat race number 2, has assumed the race lead. And all that's left as of now is Matt Bridgen out here with him in P2. Jared Murphy already out to about a second and a half over Matt Bridgen. Matt's probably trying to learn anything he can following behind Jared Murphy to see what sort of line he is using and how the car gets set through the centers of these corners. With these setups that the League of Outlaws uses, they are modified, UMP modified setups to mimic the real life IMCA style. James Murphy, Jared Murphy work on these setups week in and week out to dial them in to be more like the IMCA style. And he is putting his knowledge to good use here in the second heat race, as he's going to be coming to the white flag out of turn number 4. So Kevin Walker was able to rejoin here the tail end of this second heat race. To the line, Jared Murphy wins heat 2. Matt Bridgen's going to be second. Kevin Walker out of turn 4. He's going to finish in third. Gerald Lee is actually going to be fourth. We'll see what the admins decide to do with Gerald going forward due to the issues to start this second heat race. Starting lineup for heat race number 3. Row number 1 is going to be Riley Board and Tony Lewis. Row number 2 is going to be Lincoln Smith and Charles New III. And row number 3 is going to be Steve Wickersham and Broxton Malone. Looks like Lincoln Smith not going to make the call, so 5 cars going to start this third heat. Be careful, Tony Lewis. That car stepped way sideways in the middle of 1 and 2. Luckily, nobody was to his inside. Looks like one driver will have to fight through the consolation race here in just a bit. Actually, I believe the field's going to be in Riley Board's control. Tim, how about you bring us to the green flag here to start heat race number 3?
Alrighty. Riley Board's going to lead us down the back stretch at a nice, calm 35 mile an hour with Tony to his outside. Riley brings him through 3 as he patiently waits, as he steps on the gas, and he's away. He's got about a 2 car length lead all the way to the outside, as we have Malone sliding into 3rd. Does not make it stick, as we have Riley in first, Tony in second, and Charles New the third in third. As there's a bit of contact with him and Malone. And we have Steve all the way in the back. Got a really bad launch as he gets a little sideways again. Obviously, everyone's getting a little sideways. Looks pretty difficult to keep the car planted on that inside.
It's coming across the line this time. 3 laps in the books so far in this third heat race. Riley Board, Tony Lewis, Charles New the third, and Broxton Malone are your top 4 in your 4 transfer cars, as Steve Wickersham looks like has taken that car behind the pit wall. So the 4 cars that are still running will make it into tonight's feature event. Everybody pretty evenly spaced out. Riley up 1.3 seconds over Tony, and Tony up about a second over Charles, and Charles up, about a second and a half over Broxton. So evenly spaced out our top 4 here in heat race number 3. And you know, another interesting piece of information in this heat race is these are all new faces to the League of Outlaws in this series, in this setup style. It's the first time we've seen any of these names on the Buckeye Racing Network. Riley comes across under the white flag here, just one more time around. Out of turn number 4 and to the line. Riley Board's going to win heat race number 3. Tony Lewis second. Third place goes to Charles New. Fourth is going to go to Broxton Malone. Those 4 guys will make it directly into the feature here tonight. Heat race number 4 now, gridding up. I believe this will be our final heat race. Row number 1 is going to be A.J. Hunsinger and Tyler Bickford. Those are series regulars. Row number 2, Ty Williams, Brandon Jarvis. Row 3, Charles Quiros and Carson Haran. Hunsinger, Bickford, row 1. Williams, Jarvis, row 2. Quiros, row 3. It looks like Carson Haran will not make the call here. And Tyler Bickford has a blink there.
It's going to be an EOL for Bickford.
EOL. I wonder, did he request an EOL, Tim?
Yes, he did request the EOL.
Roger that. Maybe something's going on with the setup or with his PC or something. He just doesn't want to be up front here to start this heat race, so we'll monitor that as we progress through these 8 laps. Hunsinger waits a little longer. He does fire. Drag racing into turn 1, Hunsinger and Jarvis. Hunsinger on the inside, slides up across the nose of Jarvis. They're going to lead out of turn 2. Ty Williams going to have a peek. Uh-oh, Jarvis makes contact with Hunsinger, and that affects Ty Williams in the 27 machine. He finally is able to gather it back in. Charles Quiros moves up into 3rd. Now he has Tyler Bickford chasing him, and Quiros with a big issue in turn number 2. That's going to bring the yellow flag out early on here. Go back and take a look at exactly what happened to Charles. We saw it just on the edge of the picture here. Let's see as he gets down into turn 1. Slow things down. Tries to get the car sit. The car just kind of gets tight, pushes up the racetrack, and he tries to put a ton of wheel into it and gas it up, and the car comes around on him. Luckily, Ty Williams and Tyler Bickford were able to split him through turn 1 and 2, so nobody ended up with any damage. There is the best thing that's happened from the spin. Lights are out on the pace truck. Pace truck goes ahead and peels off out of turn number 2. It's a repeat of the start. Hunsinger, Jarvis. Hunsinger fires. Green flag goes back in the air. Much better restart there for A.J. Hunsinger. Jarvis settles into second. Oh, be careful. He entered a lot harder into turn 1. Almost made contact with A.J. once again. Ty Williams is chasing down Brandon Jarvis. He's going to have a peek to the inside out of turn number 4. Jarvis with the momentum on the outside and prevails down the front straightaway. Tyler Bickford starting to close in as well, running in 4th. Ty Williams not giving up, still looking to the inside of Brandon Jarvis. Jarvis trying to maybe block just a little bit into turn 1. That's going to work for now, but Ty Williams with a good run out of the center of the corner. Even getting into turn 3. Williams runs Jarvis up the track just a little bit. Out of turn 4, Ty Williams into P2. Jarvis with a little bit of an issue and maybe a connection problem for Jarvis as he is now back into 4th. Bickford was able to work around Jarvis with the connection problem. Meanwhile, up front, Charles Quiros was stopped, it looked like, on the inside of turn 1 and 2. Let's go back and see exactly what happened to Charles. He was running all alone back in the 5th position. Similar to what happened just a minute ago, as the car pushed up the hill and he cranked the car to the left as much as he could and gassed it up, spun the car around, and then tried to get it turned around and just nosed it into the inside wall right before the leaders got to him. Went ahead and towed to the pit lane. As the field still working behind the pace truck. Lights still on, so we got at least another lap or so before we go back to green flag racing here. Just a couple laps left in this 4th heat. Now the field gets the 1 to go signal. And again, these 4 cars that are running don't have to worry about anything. They are all going to transfer into the big show here. I believe the feature's 40 laps tonight at Lincoln. That's on tap. But for now, A.J. Hunsinger in control. Everybody trying to time it just right. Hunsinger waits a little longer that time. White flag goes in the air. Ty Williams Brandon Jarvis fighting hard for second. Jarvis got into turn 1 a lot better than Ty Williams did. They bang doors midway down the back straightaway, side by side into turn 3. A.J. Hunsinger races underneath the checkered flag to win this 4th heat. Ty Williams just noses ahead of Brandon Jarvis for second. Tyler Bickford's going to finish in the 4th spot. Charles Quiroz, Carson Horan 5th and 6th. That's the final here in that 4th heat race. Let's take a look at the starting lineup here for our main event. We're not going to run any consolation or anything like that, so it's going to be an all Murphy brothers front row. James and Jared, 1st and 2nd. Riley Board, A.J. Hunsinger is going to be row 2, row 3. Dylan Patterson, Matt Pridgeon, row 4. Tony Lewis and Ty Williams, row 5. Doug Hamaker and Kevin Walker, row 6. Charles New the 3rd and Brandon Jarvis. And row 7, sorry, it took a second to get that switched over. It's going to be Gunnar Walls and Troy Kernan. Row 8, Broxton Malone and Tyler Bickford. Row number 9 is going to be Ramsey Villarreal and Troy Owenby. Row 10 is going to be Lincoln Smith and Carson Horan. Row 11 is going to be Brian Hughes. Oh, looks like it is going to be a 50-lap main event, so definitely a lot of stuff can happen here, Tim, tonight in 50 long laps around the Lincoln Speedway.
Yeah, we're gonna see how this track is gonna get weathered in with the amount of cars racing. It looks like it's extremely slick as it was in practice. We got a couple cars just testing it out on the exit before. We're going to see what line is going to work. I would imagine the slider line is going to be the best here.
Yeah.
But, pace cars in. I'll let you take it away from here.
Pace cars in. Looks like 14 cars are going to start this 50-lap main event at the Lincoln Speedway with the League of Outlaws. James Murphy fires away. We're ready to rock and roll for 50 laps here tonight. James Murphy, an awesome start down into turn 1, side by side, 2 by 2, maybe even 3 by 3 as they work out of turn number 2 for the first time. Awesome battling here for the 3rd spot. A.J. Hunsinger, I believe that is. Dylan Patterson. Tony Lewis on the inside making up a little bit of ground. But for now, James Murphy, Riley Board are the only 2 cars, single file, now make it Dylan Patterson in 3rd. Tony Lewis scoots by A.J. Hunsinger for 4th. And big battling for 6 and contact made. 1 car goes around. I believe that's the 36 machine back here. We'll try to see who that was. And that is Charles New the 3rd that ended up going all the way around, bringing the first yellow flag out of the night. Let's try to go through and decipher a little bit of what happened. So you see Charles working into turn number 3. It was 3 wide. Matt Pridge and Jared Murphy was part of that. Ty Williams there as well. And I think that's the 2 machine of maybe Brian Hughes. Makes contact with Matt Pridgeon in the 36. Just, I don't know. He was so low on the racetrack. I think he nosed it into the wall, and then looks like another car ended up with damage from that as well. Maybe we'll go see exactly who that was. Blank, that was Jarvis. Yeah, it was Jarvis that tagged Charles New, and it looks like he had left front damage. So a couple cars with some heavy damage here early on. Oh my, there's a couple that just made contact there on the front straightaway, I think. Or one of them got into the wall as the pace truck's going to go ahead and peel off. 2 by 2. James Murphy guns it. Green flag goes back in the air. Uh-oh, 1 car. Looked like they got into the outside wall. Tyler Bickford, maybe Kevin Walker with an issue.
Yeah,
Yeah, Kevin Walker's had to tow that car into the pit lane, so unfortunate there. Side by side, look at A.J. Hunsinger underneath Riley Board out of turn number 2. Board's going to let that car go all the way up to the cushion. A.J.'s going to keep that machine as close to the inside wall as possible. Still side by side. Look out, Tony Lewis, Ty Williams contact. That's going to shuffle those cars up. Matt Pridgeon had to miss that accident. Doug Hamaker as well. Hamaker looking underneath Pridgeon. That's for the 8th position, 8th and 9th. Hamaker, oh man, how did he save that car? It was all but spun out entering turn number 1. But he is able to gather it back in. He's got Jarvis on his outside right at the tail end of the top 10. Action all over. Matt Pridgeon now with a peek underneath of Ty Williams into turn 1. And Matt Pridgeon goes up and over the nose of that machine. Ty Williams, big problems as the left front on his race car is broken. He's going to bring it to a stop. And that's going to bring the yellow flag out. Crazy things happening here at the Lincoln Speedway. Taking a look at it, look at the number 14 on the inside and the black and white numbered 27. Ty Williams in the 27 tries to pinch off Matt Pridgeon, and Matt Pridgeon was clearly there. That allows contact to be made. Pridgeon goes up over the nose of Ty Williams, and Ty Williams definitely got the worst of that incident. Matt Pridgeon's able to continue. Ty Williams' left front broken on that race car as he brought that car to a stop, and I don't know if he towed or if he tried to continue going. Looks like he did fire it back up, but definitely going to have to bring that machine to the attention of his crew in the pit area. But we've got a James Murphy still out front so far. Dylan Patterson in second. Jared Murphy is going to be, I think, 3rd or 4th here. So he's moved up nicely so far. Riley Board, Tony Lewis, the next row behind. Restart once again. James Murphy fires, gets a great restart. A.J. Hunsinger into second. Dylan Patterson did not get going on the outside. Matt Pridgeon trying to go up over the nose of another race car. That's Tony Lewis. The 13 and 14 got together and stuck together, and Matt Pridgeon somehow up over the nose, and cars are flipping in turn 3 and 4. Calamity corner right there. My goodness, I'm not sure exactly what happened, but we'll have to try to go back and decipher that as much as we can.
What happened there?
Well, I mean, from what I could tell, Matt Pridgeon went up and over the nose of the 13. The car got sideways. Somehow the 10 machine, is that Jarvis? Yeah, I think Jarvis, his car got airborne on its own potentially, and that sent him into the 13. Doug Hamaker, Jared Murphy was a part of that. Charles New, Tyler Bickford, Matt Pridgeon. I mean, a host of names part of that with some pretty heavy damage to some race cars. That's one of the most bizarre crashes I think I've seen in quite some time, Tim.
Yeah, there was whoever that was going into. I think it was. Yeah, Jarvis just like took off like it was he was the car from Harry Potter.
Yeah, I'm not sure how the left front got so airborne like that. Maybe, I'm not sure. That's something that is going to leave a couple question marks for me here tonight. Nonetheless, we're going to go back to green flag racing. Jared Murphy once again with a fantastic start down through turn 1. Riley Board takes advantage of the restart, moves into second. A.J. Hunsinger is going to slot back to 3rd. Doug Hamaker up 5 spots to 4th. He's followed closely behind by Broxton Malone and Jared Murphy, Ty Williams as well. Meanwhile, just one restart to go. Dylan Patterson was in the second position. He finds himself now battling to hang on to a top 10 spot as he's trying to work up near the cushion. Uh-oh, another big stack up on the inside, and 5 or 6 cars with damage. One car loses the wheel completely. That's Matt Pridgeon.
36. Oh, no.
Matt Pridgeon is missing the left front on that race car. Let's go back and see exactly what happened. Here again, another bizarre crash in turn 3 and 4. As we slow things down, it looks like Jared Murphy, Broxton Malone gets into him, which gets into Jarvis. Ty Williams also gets a piece of it, a pretty big piece of it. Charles New, the 13 machine, also gets a pretty big piece of it. And you'll see the left front comes off of Matt Pridgeon, so really heavy damage to that race car. Hammaker Jared Murphy takes another shot from the 13 when he gets back going. Maybe even gets tagged from Matt in the 14. Wow, craziness towards the back end of the cars on the lead lap there. You see Matt Pridgeon was able to bring that machine to the attention of his crew, and they got a new left front on it. He's going to get back going here. Still a field of 13 strong now. We started with 14. The other drivers did not make the call, so still 13 potentially. Ty Williams on the pit lane, I believe, for service. And he did come to a stop as the field works around him before they go back to green flag racing. They might have called off the start. They did, due to Ty Williams being out of line.
Tell you what, look who's up there again, Brandon Jarvis, and that ghost flipped machine there.
Yeah, he's restarting on the inside of the third row. We'll see how the rest of his night fares. We still have a long way to go. This is our 4th restart of the night. James executes that perfectly. AJ Hunsinger looks to the inside of Riley Board. They're going to be neck and neck out of turn number 2. Brandon Jarvis, Dylan Patterson side by side behind. Jarvis drives it in really deep, makes contact with the bumper of AJ Hunsinger. Hunsinger now moves into second. But my goodness, Jarvis drove it in there really hard, made big contact with Hunsinger, and that stacks up the rest of the field. Hunsinger, left front, is damaged on that machine. He's going to have to bring it to the attention of his crew. He goes up into the outside wall and comes to a stop. Another
has also got big damage
Brock
in front, it looks like. Oh, we got...
and I believe Doug Hammaker, Dylan Patterson. There's Jarvis on his lid all of a sudden. And man, I think there was more than one accident there. Let's go.
Got a lot to
I know.
break down.
What happened? What started that whole chain reaction was Hunsinger and Jarvis into turn number 1. Jarvis drove that car really deep into turn 1, making contact with Hunsinger on the inside. That sent Riley Board up into the 5. You can see the left front on the Riley Board's machine's already broken. Hunsinger has a left front that's broken after this accident. So those two cars are going to be hindered performance-wise into turn 3. So we fast forward just a little bit, get down into turn 3, and you see Patterson got up into the outside wall. And AJ Hunsinger just went to the outside of the racetrack and stopped. Riley Board, having the issues, gets spun around, or I believe that's actually Broxton Malone, just gets by. And then the field goes into turn number 1. and Doug Hamaker actually tags the inside wall, and Riley Board with the left front that's broken goes right into, drives right up into Jarvis in the outside. So absolute craziness. Here, good thing we just got that all of that deciphered. We're going to go back to green flag racing. James Murphy leads the way into turn number 1. Tyler Bickford's going to be second. Matt Bridge and Jared Murphy side by side battling for third out of turn 2. Ty Williams right behind them. Then followed now by Tony Lewis in 7th, AJ Hunsinger in 8th. Charles New, Dylan Patterson, Broxton Malone, Brandon Jarvis, your top 12. Here, as it looks like first, second, and third trying to separate themselves from the rest of the field as they come across to complete lap number 16 here with 34 to go. Look at Matt Bridgen now making a move to the inside of Tyler Bickford for the second position.
That's going to be one to watch. He's had an up and down feature. He's been to the back, to the front more times than I can count on my hand.
Yeah, absolutely. Bickford's holding his own somewhat on the outside. Pridgeon finally going to propel on the inside. Now Ty Williams trying to follow Pridgeon through. Pridgeon didn't get into turn 1 that well. That held up Ty Williams, but out of turn 2, Williams prevails into third. Bickford slots back to 4th. Jared Murphy took a peek to the inside of Bickford. Murphy runs in 5th. AJ Hunsinger moved nicely back into the 6th position. Tony Lewis, Charles New battling for 7th. Broxton Malone, Dylan Patterson battling inside the top, just inside of the top 10.
Tony got shot up just a little bit. Works all the way around the outside, trying to get back by the 36 machine of Charles New.
Yeah, Tony trying the outside, but it just has not been as quick as the inside so far tonight. Tony got tagged from Dylan Patterson, and he was able to save that car from major damage, but he rides now in the 10th spot. As Ty Williams, Matt Pridgeon are within striking distance of James Murphy, our race leader.
Everyone electing to run the bottom.
Doug Hamaker had a bit of an issue. It looks like his left front is broken on that race car. He's back in 11th, followed closely behind by Brandon Jarvis. I have to see if he's able to hold on, as now just 12 cars remain on the racetrack. Ty Williams looking to cross underneath of Matt Pridgeon down the front straightaway, not able to do it there. Yellow flag is out. Maybe Tony Lewis, maybe Doug Hamaker with an issue. We'll see exactly what happened. As we see Hamaker work out of turn 4 with Jarvis behind him. Hamaker gets into turn 1, car goes sideways and gets tagged from Jarvis. He noses it into the concrete barrier between turn 1 and 2 as the field works by on the inside, bringing the caution flag out. Oh, and Tony Lewis almost slid into him. They're trying to whoa that car up. Any interesting notes from race control up to this point, Tim?
They told these drivers that it's 50 laps about 15 laps ago, and about halfway through, a little over halfway through, or at the halfway point, I guess, would be the correct term. It looks like we're going to be going green this time by. They did ask the drivers to just keep an eye out on the driver ahead of you.
All right, we'll see if the second half of the feature event is cleaner than the first as we get the restart by James Murphy. Matt Pridgeon into second. Ty Williams under fire for third from Charles New, Dylan Patterson, Tyler Bickford. All right there.
Tony Lewis got spun around on the start of the race as we're 3 wide in the back. Wow.
Man, it's so... the runs that some of these guys get on the inside into these corners allows for the 2 and sometimes 3 wide racing moves, and you just got to be so careful to not make contact when you're trying to make a big pass like that.
Yeah, and the cool thing about this league is they don't run.
Oh my, big trouble. Broxton Malone, Tony Lewis. Big time crash at the top of 3 and 4. Broxton Malone towed in the pit lane, so did Tony Lewis. For now, we're going to stay green flag, but both of those cars with heavy damage. As we're now down to just 10 cars still remaining, and Matt Pridgeon is hot on the tail of James Murphy here for the race lead. Pridgeon trying to take a peek to the inside down the front stretch. It wasn't there this time, but he is right on the rear bumper. Ty Williams looking to close that gap. Same for Charles New and Dylan Patterson. That's your top 5. $18 laps to go, and Matt Pridgeon maybe biding just a little bit of time here. There's still quite a bit to go, but following right close behind James Murphy. These two drivers are very familiar with each other. These are series regulars with the League of Outlaws that race week in and week out. They're familiar with each other's driving styles. And potentially know each other's weaknesses if they have any. Oh, Dylan Patterson with an issue out of turn 2. The left front's broken on that machine. Charles New's car got spun around backwards. He came to a stop at the inside of turn number 2. Let's see if we can take a look at Charles and see exactly what happened. See, down into turn 1, Charles just didn't get into turn 1 as good as Dylan Patterson or Tyler Bickford. Bickford actually was the one to get into Charles New to spin him around. He comes to a stop. And you see Dylan Patterson got up into the concrete barrier. And from that, but the left front was already broken on his race car. AJ Hunsinger trying to take evasive action back there. You see his car got sideways. Doug Hammaker had to slide around Charles New as well. Still 15 laps remaining. Tim, do you want to bring us to the green flag here?
I will. James Murphy is going to roll him down into 3 as he gets away a little sideways on the inside. Bridgen able to keep pace just barely. He's still there, kind of. Is he going to be able to get a run? Not quite. James pulls out ahead, slides up in front of Bridgen. Ty Williams slides into third, kind of defends his position for the inside of one. Doug able to stay in fourth. Big contact with Bridgen and Ty Williams there going into three. Wow, what a slider from Jarvis.
Dylan Patterson's car is around sideways and turn number 2. That's going to bring the next yellow flag out. Let's try to take a look and see what happened to Dylan. As they get down to turn 1, it looks like Jarvis trying to fit in between A.J. Hunsinger, Jared Murphy. It did not work out as Jared Murphy got into Jarvis, and which then caused Murphy to get into Dylan Patterson to spin that race car around. So kind of a domino effect of one thing leading to another there to bring out our 8th caution flag so far here in the feature. James Murphy been dominant here in the feature. Matt Bridgen has been within striking distance the past couple of restarts and the past 10 or so laps to James Murphy. He's hoping for a good restart here to challenge James into turn number 1. Row number 2, you have Ty Williams and Doug Hammaker. Maybe looking at it as if those two guys make a mistake, that they can jump up there and take over the race lead. As James Murphy has a blink. We are going to go back to green flag racing this time. As the pace truck peels off. James Murphy fires away. Going to lead the charge down into turn 1 once again. 12 laps remaining as they cross the line. Matt Bridgen makes a little bit of contact with James Murphy in the middle of 1 and 2. Ty Williams going to work the extreme low side of the racetrack. Takes a peek under Matt Bridgen, but that stacks up Doug Hammaker, A.J. Hunsinger on the inside. Hunsinger able to make the pass on Hammaker. Dylan Patterson also looking underneath Hammaker as they're battling hard for the 6th, 7th, and 8th place positions. Oh, Ty Williams maybe trying to block or a little contact with A.J. Hunsinger as A.J. got into the inside wall there. Doug Hammaker hits A.J. in the rear, gets that car sideways, and the left front broken now on that 31 machine of Hunsinger. He's going to bring that car to a stop, and that'll also bring out the 9th caution of the night. See, Hammaker tagged Hunsinger, then Jared Murphy tagged Hunsinger. Charles New went up over, tried to go up over the nose of A.J. Hunsinger, and when he landed on top of the left front wheel of Hunsinger, that's what broke it off. And Hunsinger, all he could do was bring that car to a stop at the top of turn 3 and 4. And it looks like he did get it back going after the yellow flag came out to try to get it to the attention of his crew. Charles New also bringing his car into the pit area. as we have 9 laps to go. Going to have single file restarts from here to the end. James Murphy, Matt Pridgeon, Ty Williams, Doug Hammaker, Jared Murphy, the top 5. James fires, but Matt Pridgeon is right on his rear bumper as they work their way into turn number 1. Ty Williams defending the inside. Hammaker about a half lane higher. Try to take a peek to the outside. Hammaker all the way up to the outside wall. He's going to make contact with it. That opens the door underneath. Jared Murphy trying to take advantage as they are side by side entering turn number 1. Hammaker up on the cushion again. Murphy with a much better exit on the bottom. He moves into 4th. Ty Williams takes a peek to the inside of Matt Pridgeon. Nothing doing that time out of turn 4. James Murphy up to a 6/10 of a second lead over Matt Pridgeon, so a little bit of breathing room for him. Look at Dylan Patterson on the inside. Hammaker trying to cross over 3 wide. James Murphy, Dylan Patterson, Doug Hammaker down the front straightaway. Hammaker still looking on the inside. He's going to slot back into 6th. Patterson with a peek underneath of Jared Murphy, as there's just 5 laps remaining. Oh, Jarvis up into the outside wall, and the left front's broken on that race car. Let's see it. Jarvis might be able to limp that machine home. We'll find out, though. Big move for A.J. Hunsinger down into turn 1 underneath Tyler Bickford. Move him up into 7th. He's going to look for 6th from Doug Hammaker. Patterson still working the inside, trying to make the pass on Jared Murphy for 4th. Ty Williams is quickly now under fire from Jared and Dylan for a spot on the podium. As they come to the line this time, just 2 laps to go.
Uh-oh, we got one around in the back. There was big contact. Oh, even more contact.
Hammaker went around and got tagged from Brandon Jarvis. Let's see exactly what happened to Doug. As you see, AJ made the pass underneath of him. Hammaker trying a big slider into turn 3 and got stuck together with Hunsinger as he pulled his car off of AJ's. It shot him around to the inside part of the wall, and as he got back going, Brandon Jarvis tagged him as well. Well, it looks like, Tim, we're going to have a 2-lap shootout for James Murphy, Matt Pridgeon, Ty Williams. We're about to see what happens here. 8 cars left on the racetrack. James Murphy is hoping for another great restart here to potentially close this race out. Oh, he made a little contact with the outside wall, but gets that car going. Matt Pridgeon is right on his tail. White flag, though, goes in the air. Oh, and Ty Williams sent it hard into turn 1 and made contact with the back end of Matt Pridgeon. I know that hurt Matt Pridgeon's exit. Here out of turn number 4 to the line. James Murphy is going to win here tonight at Lincoln. Matt Pridgeon's going to be 2nd, and Dylan Patterson is going to bring that race car home in the 3rd spot. Ty Williams 4th, A.J. Hunsinger 5th, Jared Murphy 6th, Brandon Jarvis in 7th, Doug Hamaker 8th, Tyler Bickford in 9th. Those are the cars that finished on the lead lap, as the top 3 is going to stop on the front straightaway for a picture. At least the top 2 is going to. We'll take a look at the final race results here tonight from the Lincoln Speedway. We already talked about our top 9. 10th's going to go to Broxton Malone, 11th to Tony Lewis, 12th to Riley Board, 13th to Kevin Walker, 14th to Charles New, 15th to Gunnar Walls, 16th to Troy Kernan, 17th to Ramsey Villarreal, 18th to Troy Owenby, 19th to Lincoln Smith, 20th to Carson Haran, and 21st to Brian Hughes. Before we talk to our top 3 here tonight, we're going to get a word from our sponsors. All right, everybody, welcome back here on the Buckeye Racing Network. We're going to get our interviews out of the way. And since Dylan Patterson's not a series regular, we're not going to get to talk to him. He was our 3rd place finisher here tonight. So hopefully we'll move on and talk to Mr. Matt Pridgeon, who came home in the 2nd position. Hey, Matt, it's Tyler and Tim up in the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir. I got you.
All right, man. You had a crazy, awesome battle there with James Murphy. Pretty much the whole feature ran right behind him. He came home in 2nd. It looked like you timed the restart perfectly there on the final restart. And as you worked your way through 1 and 2, you got tagged from behind from Ty Williams. And I know that had to hinder your run out of the 2nd turn.
I was able to get a few good restarts on James. When we went single file, I wasn't able to get quite as good. But yeah, 27, he was a little upset with me. I was about to start watching the replay back. Early in the race, we went in the corner side by side, and I don't think he knew I was there, but we were side by side down the whole straightaway, and he got mad about that. So I'm pretty sure that was a little bit of retaliation, but it is what it is. Had a few run-ins with a few people, but I got to watch the replay back. But I got lucky with the one of the big cautions there in the middle of the race that put me up in 2nd place. So a little bit of luck tonight. Almost, I feel like I could have fought James a little better for the win, but all those late cautions kind of hindered all that. Seemed like every time I got a little bit of a run on him, caution flag would fly.
Yeah, absolutely. You had a little more cautions than anybody wanted to see here tonight, but still a good run for you coming home in the 2nd position. Tim, do you have anything to ask Matt?
Yeah, you made it. You certainly made it look easy to come from the deep in the field. You probably did it about 4 or 5, maybe 6 times, working your way up through the field. What was so difficult about making the passes that you did?
Well, this track's really bottom dominant, and some guys, you kind of had to rub elbows a little bit to get by. It's everybody struggles on the bottom here for whatever reason, and they were complaining about it not being full throttle, which I think half throttle racing is more fun. takes more skill to do, but they get loose and you got to check up, and a lot of beating and banging going on. It's you know tight corners here.
Yeah, absolutely. It sure is. Crazy battling and racing here tonight, Matt. Before we let you go, who would you like to thank?
I'd like to thank y'all for broadcasting this. I'd like to thank AJ for hosting this league. Hopefully, we get back to going to our normal session sooner. But you know, my buddy Ryan Williams, Talking Dirt on Facebook, sponsors Real Life Car and Virtual Car. James and Jared for making these setups, and old lady watching at her house.
All right, Matt. Well, we appreciate you getting a word in here with us tonight. We'll let you celebrate that second place finish.
Thanks, sir.
All right, we'll get to talk to our race winner now. That's going to be James Murphy. Hey, James, it's Tyler and Tim up in the booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir.
All righty, buddy. Another fantastic night for you here. Started up front, stayed there all night long. I know you had a pretty good battle with Matt Pridgeon, or at least he maybe was pressuring you for a good majority of that feature, but you were able to keep him at bay and bring home the checkered flag.
Yeah, I was able to get a good qualifying lap, and being in the front was definitely a good help right there. And I was watching my relatives and seeing Matt was behind me, and I know he's a good driver and all, and he's not going to run me over. So I was hoping we could put on a good race for y'all.
Yeah, absolutely. I know there was a lot of craziness. I know from your standpoint you didn't see it. We seen it in the booth. There was a ton of craziness in the middle to the tail end part of the pack with some stuff that we couldn't even explain here on the broadcast, but keeping that car out front and clean had to feel good.
Yeah, I hate to see all the wrecks. This track's a little difficult, but I don't know if it's drivers or the track or both, but I think some people just need to get a little calm down, and it's a long race, and we was wrecking on lap one. I don't somebody. It is what it is. We'll be back next week.
Yeah, absolutely. A fantastic night for you. Nonetheless, Tim, you have anything to ask James?
Yeah, you dominated tonight. What was the key to getting around this place as great as you did?
This place takes a lot of throttle control, and because it's really easy to spin your tires down the straightaway. Not so much in the corners, but the straightaways here is really difficult not to spin your tires. And just finding the line and watching the track change, make sure nobody beats you to the faster line.
Yeah, absolutely. You mastered that here tonight. Before we let you go, James, who would you like to thank?
I'd like to thank y'all for broadcasting and everybody with the League of Outlaws, AJ Hunsinger with the rap, and Talking Dirt.
All righty, James. Well, congratulations on the win once again, and we'll let you celebrate it here tonight.
Thank y'all.
Absolutely. Well, Tim, as we wrap things up here tonight from the Lincoln Speedway, what are the closing thoughts that you have?
Just an amazing race for when we could race.
Yeah, I mean, this was the first time for us here on the network that we got to visit the Lincoln Speedway, which is kind of surprising with the various leagues that we've been a part of and brought the coverage of here on the channel. But the League of Outlaws and James Murphy prevailing here tonight, one of the series regulars. So we kind of came into the night with a question mark of, could it be a unknown winner, maybe a new winner here tonight, but James was able to keep that car out front smooth all night long and brings home another checkered flag. Upcoming for us here on the Buckeye Racing Network, we're going to have, quite a few more shows for you here as the Short Track Rivals Racing is going to begin their brand new season. They've got 3 series that's going to start this coming week. We're happy and lucky to be bringing you the coverage of 2 of them. That's going to be their 305 Sprint Car Division. That's going to be on Tuesday night. We'll be live right about 9 o'clock. On Thursday night, they're going to have a limited late model league. at about 9 o'clock. We're going to be bringing you the live coverage for that one, and also a Dirt Street Stock League that I think Southern Broadcast Gaming Network will have the coverage of that on Friday night. In about a week's time, we have a really big sprint car race with Regal Promotions, the King's Clash. That's going to be in 360 sprint cars. It's a 3-night event from Sunday, I believe, the 14th through Tuesday, the 16th. We'll have the coverage on the 15th and the 16th for both nights of racing action, so really looking forward to that as well. For Tim Henderson, I'm Tyler Bentley. That's going to do it for us tonight from the Lincoln Speedway. We appreciate each and every one of you watching and our sponsors. Good night, everybody.